And welcome back. John Bolton's new book, The Room Where It Happened, has set off a political firestorm here in Washington. And now the president is calling his former national security advisor a liar and says he's not the only one who thinks so. Today, Trump told CBN News, quote, "One of the stupidest things ever said on television was said by John Bolton."
Talk about the John Bolton book, but he did say something in that book about the media. He said that something about you saying journalists should be jailed and then executed. I mean, you want to respond to that?
He made it up. Look, he's admitted that he will lie. He's admitted that. There was a report that I saw where he will admit that he will lie in order to get the job done. I gave John Bolton, and he lied, I gave John Bolton a great opportunity. And by the way, many of the things he said, there were many other people in the room. Because it's not like I'm alone with one person. I have a big delegation with me, and they've got a big delegation. And Steve Mnuchin came out, and Mike Pompeo came out, and Mick Mulvaney came out. Many people, they all came out, and they said it's a lie. He's a liar. I fired him. I got him out. He was no good. All he wanted to do was bomb people. Now, I don't mind having an opposing point of view, and frankly, I think I used him very well because when people saw him, they know he was sort of crazy, and maybe it helped me negotiate good deals, frankly. But he was terrible. He had no personality. He had no warmth. I don't think I've ever seen this guy smile. Have you ever seen him smile? I said, "John, do you ever smile?" And he didn't even know how to answer the question. No, John was washed up, and I took him and I gave him something. He couldn't get Senate confirmed because they hated him. They hated him and they thought he was a whack job. I asked him, do me a favor, tell me, are you still happy with the decision? You pushed it so hard to go into Iraq. He said, yes. I said, you're happy. We spent almost $8 trillion in the Middle East because of that decision. You think it was a good decision? Yes. I said, this guy's bad. And then, of course, the Libyan model. You remember the Libyan model. Yeah. One of the stupidest things ever said on television was said by John Bolton. So he was pretty much gone early on, but we kept him around, and he went out and wrote a book. And by the way, the judge made a tremendous statement. I mean, do you see what the judge said about the release of classified material? I think John Bolton's got a big problem. Plus, he's not going to be able to keep his money. I don't think there's a chance that he's going to be able to keep his money. So we'll see what happens.
When we come back, the president's pitch to evangelical voters and what he told us about the previous administration.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Deep political divisions in the nation following the death of an unarmed black man under police custody and a world in combat with a global pandemic are testing President Trump. He, of course, portrays himself as a law and order leader, but he says the nation needs balance. And now he's accusing the previous administration of treason for spying on his campaign in 2016.
I want to turn to evangelicals a little bit. One of the criticisms, and look, you've done a boatload for evangelicals, for sure. And as a matter of fact, you've over-delivered for evangelicals. The question...
More than any president in history by a factor of 10.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would actually disagree with that. Let me ask you this about the law and order president and balancing that with compassion, because the evangelicals that may want to go away from you, a percentage or two, will say they want to see more balance, especially with everything going on with George Floyd and coronavirus. They want to, so what is it exactly maybe in the future, or what you've done, this administration, from a compassion standpoint, that people should be aware of?
Well, let me tell you, you have George Floyd,
yep,
but you also had 14 people killed this weekend in Chicago.
Right.
So you got to balance them out. You got to say, wait a minute, we need law and order. And it's run, all of these problems, Seattle, Portland, Chicago, you could go to Oakland, you could go to Baltimore. What do they have in common? They're run by liberal Democrats, just like Joe Biden. Our nation will go to hell if he gets elected. Your 401ks, which are now setting records, will go down maybe to nothing, maybe to dust, because he's going to raise everybody's taxes. He has no idea what he's doing anyway. You know that. He didn't when he was in prime time 20 years ago. You know, he never got more than 1%. I used to call him 1% Joe. And then Obama took him off the trash heap. And it's a fluke. Nobody knows how this happened. He's running against these other people. Whether you like their views or not, they were competent. And he got through that whole mess, right? And now he's sitting in a basement, and he doesn't want to come out. And this is what we're going to have. If he got elected, China will own the United States.
Do you think you're the underdog in this race?
I don't know. I think we have tremendous support. I really do. I think it's the silent majority. There's a silent majority. Happened last time. Remember, the people came out and everyone said, where did all these people come from? And it really is. It's a group of people that's massive, and they work, and they're smart, and they're brilliant, and they're this and that. Everything is good. And many evangelicals are in that group. You know, I got a tremendous evangelical support. I mean, Christian support was incredible for me. It was incredible. And I think it should be better, because before I was talking, even you said, well, are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. But now I've done it. Again, they said I'm the most pro-life president in history by far, more so than Ronald Reagan. And so now I've established my credentials. Before I was just talking. You ought to ask a guy like a Biden, or ask his campaign, give a list of judges, see where they stand on pro-life, see where they stand on it. You will not be able to get that list, because they're going to put an absolute radical lefty in there in the Supreme Court.
I want to ask
and other judges.
As I said, I would ask about the deep state, which has been after you for ever, for a long time. On Obama and the spying situation, this idea that they were spying on your campaign, you've been asked before about what crime he would have potentially committed. But I remember you talking to
treason. Treason.
That's what I was going to ask.
It's treason. Look,
it's treason.
Look. When I came out a long time ago, I said, they've been spying on my campaign. I said, they've been taping, and that was in quotes, meaning a modern-day version of taping. It's all the same thing, but a modern-day version. But they've been spying on my campaign. I told you that a long time ago. Turned out I was right. Let's see what happens to him now. Durham is... I never met Durham, because I want to stay out of it, because otherwise it's going to look political. But Durham, as you know, is a highly respected person, and Bill Barr is doing a great job as Attorney General. Let's see what they come up with. But they don't have to tell me. All I have to do is read the papers, the insurance policy. In case she doesn't win, we got an insurance policy. Well, that was all the stuff that we went through over the last, let's say, 2.5 years. Now we caught them. We caught them called Strzok and Page, the two lovers, Brennan and Clapper, the way they lied.
Democrats can't stand by.
Comey.
They just...
They can't stand who?
Bill Barr. They just think he's political.
You know why? Because he's doing such a good job. Because he's law and order. But he's got them in his crosshairs. And now we have to see what's going to happen. I will say this, if it were reversed, and if the other side sat, we're at the Oval Office, right in that chair behind the Resolute desk, and it was the opposite, 2 years ago, 25 people would have been convicted, and they would be sent to jail for 50 years. And by the way, if it were 100 years ago or 50 years ago, they would have been executed. But we're in a different time. We're in a different time. You understand what I mean by that? They spied on the opposing party's campaign, and we caught them. And I just hope I get tremendous evangelical Christian support.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Well, if you think you've heard everything from our interview today with the president, think again. For more from David Brody's conversation with the president, tune in tomorrow for the 700 Club on the Freeform channel. You can check your local listings for times, and you can also see the full interview online at cbnnews.com, the CBN News channel, YouTube, or the CBN News app. And that is all the time we have for tonight. Have a great evening.